Many brand collaborations can come with financial incentives. So you've got financial incentives from actually the financial value. You've also got the exchange of maybe hotel stays or dining out experiences. You're talking about an exchange of services, perhaps. Those can be very lucrative in the sense of you don't get the money back, but the opportunity that you get from that experience. One of those benefits I think about was the collaboration that I did for the Seychelles part of our wedding. I worked with Story Seychelles, where I pitched to them coming to get married and the content that we would share and what would happen from that if we worked together. And it was a win-win for both. I was wanting to go to the Seychelles to get married. I was going to share content. I've been able to give them so much high value content because it was a priority for me. And it was a win-win. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Kelly Lundberg podcast. I'm your host, and today I'm hosting a solo episode. Today is all about how your personal brand can help develop collaborations, or how you can use your personal brand to get more collaborations, to grow your reach, to meet new people, and just expand your network. It's been something that I work a lot one-to-one with my clients when we're going through personal brand strategy, but I wanted to bring it to a sort of a general idea about how you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers to be thinking about how and why collaborations are so important for your personal brand. So I've got a few stories and ideas for you to implement today when it comes to your personal brand and looking for strategic collaborations that can help for you and for other people. It's not always about everything you give. There's a win-win for the person or business or brand that you're going to be collaborating with. So enhanced visibility. So I think that's a pretty obvious one when it comes to collaborations. When you collaborate with established brands, you introduce yourself to a broader audience, and then the reputable brand ends up promoting you as well. So you get more reach, you get more visibility. And I was thinking about, there's been a number of places that this has happened for me, but Cloudspace was one. So Cloudspace is a co-networking space or co-working space, and it's also where my office is. And what I've been able to do as a collaboration there is I've gone in and hosted speaking events. So it's created, and the target audience is all entrepreneurs. It's all people that are potentially my clientele. So I've been exposed to their audience. They've promoted me. I've gone in and offered value to their audience. So they're hosting events. It looks great on them. They're bringing experts in. And from that, the win-win is that the cloud space, the co-networking and working space, is getting content and it's getting value to their clients. And then I'm potentially getting exposed to their audience and picking up new clients, which did happen. Okay, credibility and trust. So if you're associating yourself or you're aligning yourself with a well-known brand, this can really add to your credibility because people tend to trust brands that they're familiar with, and that can strengthen your brand and your personal brand reputation. So I remember really early on in my sort of styling career, so we're talking kind of 15, 18 years ago, one of the early collaborations that I was so excited with was Harvey Nichols. I think they'd seen me actually in a magazine. So it was some PR when we talk about the Brand New formula. So that's your spotlight piece. They had seen me and said, would I be interested in working with them? Let me think about it for a moment. And hosting a styling event. So the challenge that they were having at the time was that they hosted a spectacular fashion show with amazing looks that were so well styled on the catwalk. But then the challenge was, how do you translate the catwalk trends into what people could wear every day, whether that's on the school run to an event that's not a runway show? So I was taking the pieces and then making them really wearable. So that was my first kind of big collaboration. But then because I started working with them, I then started working with other brands. There was Chanel, there was Louis Vuitton. Then I started working with their stylists in their personal shopping department. So that then led to so many opportunities from just one. So it gets you thinking about where else can you strengthen, would be better, your brand's credibility, and start creating that dream list. They might not be coming to you. you might need to go to them. So it's really important to remember that. Networking opportunities. So collaborations can really involve working really closely with people or meeting people on the off chance, or maybe it's an elevator pitch. And then other opportunities come from that. So I think I've spoken at so many networking organizations and I've got clients from that. But one that was so different was I was asked to come and be part of a walking group. So fitness is a really important value for me. And this walking group said, would you come and walk on the beach just as a bit of a mentor? People can walk with you, ask questions. So it totally ticked my value of, okay, exercise, getting my step count in, but also giving back as well. And I ended up getting a client out of it. I wasn't even trying. It was just, I was there to serve, there to help, and there to get my steps in. So networking opportunities. And often that space of networking and speaking at networking events, you don't always need to be selling your event, but emotionally connecting with an audience with stories can then bring them into your sphere. And then you have the opportunity at a later date to be able to tell about your services. There's also, when you have collaborations, there's learning and growth. So working with different brands, different people can expose you to new ideas, strategies and practices. And this can be a huge learning curve for you in your business and how your personal brand evolves. There can be financial benefits. So many brand collaborations can come with financial incentives. So you've got financial incentives from actually the financial value. You've also got the exchange of maybe hotel stays or dining out experiences. You're talking about an exchange of services, perhaps. Those can be very lucrative in the sense of you don't get the money back, but the opportunity that you get from that experience. One of those benefits I think about was the collaboration that I did for the Seychelles part of our wedding. I worked with Story Seychelles, where I pitched to them coming to get married and the content that we would share and what would happen from that if we worked together. And it was a win-win for both. I was wanting to go to the Seychelles to get married. I was going to share content. I've been able to give them so much high value content because it was a priority for me. And it was a win-win. So there doesn't always need to be the financial element to it as the literal paid in the bank account, but it can come from another way as well. Enhance creativity. So collaborations can inspire creativity by combining different perspectives and different ideas. This can lead to content and projects that sets your personal brand apart. So I was thinking about this and I was like, give an example of this, Kelly. So last year, I actually hosted an event with my publishing consultant, and it was a bonus for my clients. I wanted to give them something back. Maybe at some point they wanted to think about writing a book, but also a networking opportunity and a chance for them to learn and for me to learn new ways and new strategies as well. I'd say social proof is a great way from collaboration. So featuring collaborations on your platform on social media serves as social proof that you're demonstrating what you're already saying that you're good at, but other people are saying it as well, that other people value your work and they support you too. And that attracts potentially more followers and maybe other collaborators as well. And then I think the final piece in this is content creation. So collaborations often result in a new audience. It results in you creating content and it keeps your content fresh, engaging and exciting because you don't want it always to be about you. There's that piece on how can you shine the light on someone else, or why did you love working with them? What was the benefits from that? And it just creates sometimes even better content because there's two of you then creating the content around that. So you want to think about, okay, strategically aligning with brands that work for your goals and, more importantly, your values that impact the reach, the credibility, and lead to recognition in your field. That's what you want to be known for. And the brands that you align with then become a huge part of that. So first of all, you need to get really clear as to who is your audience so you can map out what kind of brand collaborations and that both the audiences are in alignment with that. So you need to know your audience in that space. Building a strong online presence, so consistent content. Now, a lot of clients, when I first start working them, we go, I do a little bit, then I stop, and I do a little bit. I'd rather you were just consistent with a little to maintain the visibility in that space. Engage with your followers. It could even be looking at LinkedIn. How do you start working on that strategy? Or even your mailing list. I think that's a really important aspect that I bring to the table when I do collaborations, that it's not just my Instagram following. I've got 11,000 people on LinkedIn and I have a mailing list of 5,000 plus. So that's going directly into people's inbox. There's so much more value in offering that than maybe just a social media post as well. You want to look at network and building relationships. So attend industry events, participate in conferences, webinars. Back to the Harvey Nichols experience that I shared with you when they actually asked me after seeing me in a magazine. But when it comes to setting intentions, that wasn't the first event that they hosted. They hosted a very similar event after their big fashion show. They had a celebrity stylist they flew in from Australia. And I remember attending that event going, do you know what? I want to be back here. I want to be doing this next time. And at the time, I was then able to visualize and see exactly what that stylist did. And then I was like, okay, how can I make this better for when I do it? So there's so much value in that learn from others and go, what can you do that's different? What can you do that's better? Also want to leverage on your social media. So connecting with brands and platforms through Instagram, TikTok, maybe it's X you want to be on, maybe it's Pinterest, and engage with their content. Many places have got affiliate links. So that could be another way that you could look at endorsing brands or doing collaborations is having an affiliate link as well. This is the big one, and this is where it lets a lot of people down, is proactively reaching out. So you need to pitch yourself where it's a win-win for both. You want to send a well-crafted email, so you want to have a great personal brand that looks like your quality, that you're not emailing from a Gmail account. That's what I don't want. And why a collaboration would be great for both parties. Maybe your media kit, if that's of value, or examples of past collaborations that you could share with them. So I was thinking about what was an example of this, and I actually have a brilliant one for you. So a number of years ago, through personal circumstances, I ended up needing to look for a new place to live. And I was very inspired and motivated that where I wanted to live was going to be fabulous. Because through that personal journey that I had been on, a previous partner had said to me that I would never manage without him. And that gave me the motivation to make sure that I would manage just fine, and where I would move to would be even better. So I decided that if I was going to map out how the next 12 months of my life was going to look like, going through this personal transition, I wanted to live somewhere in an environment that was going to inspire me. So what was the one place that I could think of that was going to be inspiring, that was going to up-level everything that I did and how I showed up? And I picked a 5-star hotel. I wanted to go and live in a hotel, and I wanted to bring value to the hotel. And I picked the Anantara on the Palm Jumeirah because I knew that they had residencies there. And I created a pitch on how it would work for them, how it would work for me. I wasn't looking for something for absolute free. No way. There was a collaboration in this, but there was also, I was very prepared to pay too. But I wanted to do something that was different. And that's the secret. And I pitched to them, and it was the beginning of December, and I knew that I needed somewhere to move into in the January. And I remember being on holiday with my mum. We had this 3-day break in between Christmas and New Year. So I met them in the mid-December, and we were in Madrid. And I remember really clearly being in the lobby of this hotel. I said, Mum, it's happened. They've agreed. And just that whole journey and experience of going, what is it that you want? And you going out and getting that. is the biggest probably lesson I can give you this when it comes to collaborations. Is so much of it is you've got to go out there and get it. And I had 12 months in there and I loved every moment of it. I would have done so much in the content space, event space, and showcasing what it was like as a neighborhood hotel for people that live in the area, but also for people that are visiting there as well. So I love that experience. You really need to showcase your value. So things like creating a media kit that look of value, that has your bio, your demographics of your audience, if you have an audience, engagement rate, past collaborations. You know, if I think back to the collaborations that I used to do with the fashion brands, like I knew whenever I went in, their ROI would go up anywhere between 25% to 60%. That's what they used to tell me afterwards on the sales days. In Brand You Accelerator, I've shared my media kit and exactly how you can create your own. So if you're thinking, okay, Brand You Accelerator is something I need to find out more, click the show notes and you'll see the details about Brand You Accelerator. Offer unique collaboration ideas. So I think that kind of goes back to, you know, the Seychelles wedding. It goes back to the Anantara and the collaborations that I've done there. How can you get creative? How can you customize campaigns and tailor it to the brand that you're working with and for it to suit your values? Recently, I hosted an event with Echo Shoes and they wanted me to bring Echo Shoes to my audience. But I was really clear that I didn't want to go back in with just a styling hat, and I wanted to think about styling your brand around what it is that you wear, but the lessons that you can learn from other brands that have been in the industry for 40, 50 years. And I took so many lessons from Echo and how you could bring that into your own personal brand, which then made people think, how can we do this differently? So another idea on personalizing, but just getting creative. And then you want to look at, you know, obviously you've got maintaining professionalism and how you can, you know, increase the chances of you coming back. Because I think another aspect is leveraging existing collaborations. Maybe when you've worked with them once, you can do this multiple times. So Harvey Nichols, I think I worked with them 5 or 6 different times. Banana Republic, I've worked with them a number of different times as well. Echo actually asked me to work with their back to school campaign, which I would have loved to have done, because my target audience is a lot of parents, but it doesn't work with my brand values. I'm not a mum myself. So I felt that the connection of back to school didn't work. So that's when it goes back to, it's got to align with not just maybe your audience, but align with, you know, where you are on your journey as well. Make sure you gather testimonials. Ask for recommendations on LinkedIn, brands that you can work with, because these you can then put into your website. And then I think finally, I'd say you need to stay authentic and align to what's important to you. I've been asked to work with brands in the past and they haven't aligned with me. Only pursue collaborations that align with your values and that you genuinely believe in, because this can lead to more consistent partnerships and it just makes it genuine that when you do endorse something, people believe in this. I think that's probably a really nice way to wrap up, is the authenticity piece is ultimately you've got to be you, but you've also got to be the person that's got to drive the collaborations. It's not always got to come to you. You've got to go out there and ask for it. I'll finish on this final story because I really like this actually. I did a keynote here to a mastermind group. One of the girls, Charlie, in the mastermind group, I was talking about, you know, just going out there and asking. And she's got a very good business. So it wasn't a financial drive that she was doing this, but she was visiting Dubai. She had her whole family. And I said, you just got to ask. So she said, do you know what? I'm going to go and ask the place that I'm going to go and take all the kids to tomorrow. I think there was like 8 kids, 4 different adults, if they would be interested in having me come along for free, and I'll post it all over social media. Didn't have like a huge, it wasn't hundreds of thousands. I think it was maybe around the 5,000, 8,000 followers. So she did that and the brand said yes. And she said, I was so happy. It wasn't the financial. It was just, if you don't ask, you don't get. So if this episode has inspired you, give it a thumbs up if you're watching this. If you're listening, please subscribe. It just really helps more than you know to attract new audiences and invite fabulous guests in. So that's it for me. Until next time, bye for now.